And happy Tuesday, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. How are you feeling?
I'm fantastic. You?
I'm doing
Did you have a good night last night?
Yeah, I did. I wanted to talk about the Women's Social. It was a first for Sanford Women's. It was at the Sanctuary Event Center, which, number one, is a beautiful venue. I've never been there. I know there's been a lot of weddings and different bands and different things. I've wanted to go there. It was a sold-out event, so there's about 200 women. It was super fun. This is actually a picture. This was towards the end of the night, but one of the featured events was a panel of 6. You can see medical experts. There was, a heart surgeon, a cardiologist who has some great funny stories, a gynecologist, mental health, dermatology. So all of the women were able to ask questions. When I was first asked if I'd like to do this event, and they said it'd be great, I kind of moderated the questions. It was, a safe zone. I don't know if there were any men there, maybe the guy running the audio. It was like, any questions that you're sometimes too scared to ask, go ahead, write it down, and then I asked the question, and then the doctors kind of took turns answering. And some of the questions, the doctors said, I'm asked this every day, and please don't be scared to ask your doctor. So it's just different. Women's bodies, we're pretty special, and as you age, you have different issues when you're in your 20s versus your 60s. So it was super fun. In this video right here, that was Chris Linares, of course. She was one of the keynote speakers. We had 2 keynote speakers. I've gone to several of her workshops. She kind of pushes you outside of your comfort zone. At one point, we had to get up and dance and tell people what makes you fierce, and what is your flaw, because she does the, Flaw Club, and I love that. And I talked about her when I was on stage as well, because I emceed the event, and I said, we talk about this a lot on North Dakota Today. Everybody puts just their highlight reel on social media, and Chris is one of those who's like, she puts it all out there.
She puts it all out there, totally an open book, and she is super fun.
She's super funny and fun. Yeah, I really like listening to her. And then actually there were 2 keynote speakers. So we first listened to Chris Linares, and then we also listened to, I told you this, it was Megan Tampty, I believe is her name. She is the CEO, co-founder of Evereve. It's a store in the mall. It used to be a Hot Mama. And she had a really incredible story about, she was actually a 3rd grade teacher, really had no, fashion education or anything like that, but she talked about when she first went to try to get clothes that would fit after her first baby, and how the whole experience kind of changed her mind. And I know the first time I went to, it used to be called Hot Mama in the mall, they had a place for your kids. You could try on your clothes, and they had toys and a big bowl of animal crackers. So you could actually try on things and look at things, and your kids were just happy too. But they've switched, rebranded since then, and I think they own close to 90 Evereve stores. I know.
What?
I didn't realize it was as big as it is, because she's like, well, yes, I was at our Fargo store, but really, and she put a map up, and it was all over the place. So
good for her.
Cool to listen to her story. And her, they say she talks a lot about finding joy in what you do, but I thought it was also a lot about following your dreams. She said she actually named the store Hot Mama initially because there was a gal, she told a funny story about one of her neighbors who she just kind of behind her back would call her the Hot Mama, like the mom that you see that always is kind of put together, like she would, when you're wearing your yoga pants and your, hair's a mess, and then there's always that one woman who looks like $1 million when she walks out the door. So it was a great event. First time, I hope, I told them they're going to have to get working on a bigger venue for next year, because it was just really fun. They had some great vendors there that were, good for anyone, but kind of female focused. Leela and Lavender, we love them, and Eco Chic, and Olive Street was there. Profile by Sanford was there.
Nice.
So yeah, it just was a really great. My sister was my date, but I met a lot of different people at my table, and the speakers were great. We need to do that a couple of times.
Any
and then
great
just
takeaways for you?
What was that?
Any great takeaways that you got out of it? Or?
Well, like I said from the CEO, follow your dreams. If you kind of have something in your head, and you don't let go of it. And I Chris Linares, she said, well, I'm going to talk initially about holiday stress and Thanksgiving anxiety. It's a real thing but then she kind of moved into, life's messy. That's okay. Sometimes a mess turns into a miracle, and
I
so
like that.
I really thought I took away a lot. And then just having that discussion about, your women's health issues, I thought that was nice too, because it kind of was like, don't be afraid to ask these questions, and don't be afraid to put yourself first. My husband, I know, texted me this morning when he was watching the Valley Today. He's like, they should have a men's event like that, and I was like, well, actually they should, because you guys are not super great about, going to the doctor and These are the issues that men should be aware, right? I don't see that
so
happening,
true.
though. Would it? A bunch of you guys all get together?
I mean, I think that's called a bar, isn't it?
So invite the doctors to the bar and talk to you guys about how you should get physicals, heart health. I know, some great, and actually a lot of the proceeds went to, I met a gal who is the founder of You Code Girl. Her name was Bethlehem, I believe, and she is originally from Egypt. And although there were so many great stories, she told a story about how, you know, she was given the chance when she was younger to do some programming, but she didn't have a computer, you know. And then now she met I believe she met a man from North Dakota and ended up moving here. And she was like trying to find other women who, you know, wanted to do coding and computer programming. And she's, why can't I find these women? And so now she is encouraging young women and girls. She's like, it's all right to be a nerd, you know.
Yeah.
And it was very inspiring. So I even like almost teared up just, you know, listening to her story too. And the cardiologist, I can't remember her name, she was great. It was very pro-woman, but she was talking about how when I think she was out in Boston, and she was doing her residency, and she just had twins. I think about going through medical school, being a cardiologist, and then having brand new babies. And she said she was the only female cardiologist at the time in this residency, and she walked in and she said all the men were looking at me strange, and we were all like, what are they going to say? Oh my goodness. And she said finally one guy said, you got something in your hair. And she goes, that's just baby burp. So it's like, you know, she was hilarious, but also like, you can do it all, and you can do it all even if you have baby spit up in your hair.
Exactly.
So it was just a super, super fun event that Sanford Women's put on, and I was happy to be part of it, and I hope they continue it because I really thought it was great.
Man, you might be doing that like a biannual, maybe quarterly event.
And we'll work on that men's social.
I think that is very, very important because what you said about not going to doctors, all those kind of things is too true, too true. So we got to touch on this because last night I'm scrolling through Twitter and I see South Dakota trending across the United States. I'm like, South Dakota trending on Twitter? You got to be kidding me, right? So I started looking into it, and let's just put it this way. Nancy Reagan is probably rolling over in her grave today. If you think about sort of this anti-drug message, you remember how Nancy Reagan just saying, no, this is your brain on drugs. I think we've got a soundbite here, right, Tony? And so the South Dakota taxpayers spent almost $500,000 on a message like this. Check it out.
I'm on meth.
So am I.
Meth is not someone else's problem. It's everyone in South Dakota's problem. And we need everyone to get on it.
I'm on meth.
So to say the least, last night, there was plenty of memes flying around Twitter where people were like, okay, the old South Dakota, Visitors Bureau message, great places, great faces, because of Mount Rushmore.
Yep.
Then they had ones with like Breaking Bad pictures, because if you know Breaking Bad, he would go and create his own meth. And I mean, people were just going nuts. Like, who sat around and said, hey, we're going to run an ad that says, I'm on meth? If you're into going online and laughing, you'll enjoy it.
The governor is getting a lot of backlash on this. She said that, she wanted to be bold with this campaign to get people talking about being the solution, not just the problem. I don't know. I mean, I guess it has us talking about it. I just read about it this morning and I was like, wow. I know. I agree. It's bold. It's interesting. And people are going crazy on social media. We've got it posted on our Valley News Live Facebook page as well if you want to join the conversation.
It is shocking, the response that people are having to it. That is...
I'm surprised as well.
Pretty priceless. So anyways, it's about the Farmers Union Insurance Bison football pregame show. I'm not sure what time's it kick off this week. They are on the road this week playing the Southern Illinois. So the game's at 2 p.m. So the pregame show is going to be at 1 p.m. Our entire team will walk you up to kickoff. It should be a fun way to kind of wrap up the season with an away game and pick up a W and head into the playoffs.
Yep, because we're hoping Sunday morning during the coaches show, maybe we'll have a little insight as to what's going to be happening for the playoffs. I've got my planner open, my written mom planner, to find out when the games are going to be in December. Because there's always, will it be Friday night? Will it be Saturday morning?
That's right, yeah.
It's kind of a big deal. Fargo Force as well. We give away tickets on Tuesdays. Remember to sign up for your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to the Fargo Force. Today's winner, KJ Stearns of Fargo. You can get yourself registered to win as well. Just go to valleynewslive.com and click on the contest tab to get signed up. And stay with us. Coming up next, we have some very talented kids in studio with us. You won't want to miss their performance next.